Well, here we are in Christmas week at a snowy Bath with the Bath and England rugby player, indeed England captain, Lewis Moody, looking battered after another training session. And it's been, well, it's the end of a tumultuous year for you, Lewis, particularly the November internationals that have just passed. Perhaps a quick word, first of all, on how do you think it's all gone so far?
With England? Yeah, it's been, I suppose it's been a year of some potential seized and some potential to be seen still. We had a couple of good wins against Australia. We had some frustrating games in the autumn against New Zealand and South Africa, and a bit of certainly an indifferent Six Nations last year. But all said and done, I think we're on the right track now.
Yeah, well, let's hone in on the November test particularly, as they're in recent memory. And first of all, the good, Australia. Now, I've been watching you playing, Lewis, for probably longer than I would care to, and I think that was one of the best performances, if not the best performance, by an England team in 10 years. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. Certainly at Twickenham, it was just one of those games where everything came together, and everything that we've been training to do, came into practice on the pitch and happened. It was an awesome day. Ashley's try, the young guys playing well, the old heads getting stuck in. It was an awesome day.
The Chris Ashton try you referred to, have you seen a better try than that? Have you been on a pitch when a better try than that's been scored?
I've been on the pitch when a lot of good tries have been scored, but I suppose for sheer impact and getting the crowd going at Twickenham, that was probably the best one that we've seen in a long time.
But it wasn't like a one-off in that game, was it? I mean, the whole for 80 minutes, it was attack. Very few drop balls, high skills showed, and you really took the game to. You almost out-Australia'd Australia, didn't you? Yeah,
I think it started in the summer. We wanted to play a certain style of rugby, and we had to believe it to be able to do it, and to put it into practice on the pitch made a big difference. And yeah, you could see the elation that the guys had when we beat Australia back to back.
Now, of course, the week before, you almost started the process the week before against New Zealand. Now, it was a slow start to the game, as you well know, and rather frustratingly, by the time you got going, the game was almost out of your grasp. But you really had them on the ropes towards the end. So, they are at the moment the best team in the world. A lot of positives from that game as well.
Yeah, I think we would have loved to have had the New Zealand after a couple of games, after a bit of practice. But fair play to them. They're the best team in the world for a reason. We had 10 minutes where we just lapsed our concentration in defence, and they scored 14 points. And if you give New Zealand 14 points, it's a difficult road to come back from. But we played some great rugby in that game, and it was frustrating because we knew there was an opportunity there to beat the best team in the world.
And then after Australia, there was Samoa, and of course, the problem about playing as well as you did against Australia is that the expectation levels suddenly became a lot higher. The reality is Samoa, always tough, always physical. You expected to win the game, but you knew it would take time to wear them down.
Yeah, it was always going to be one of those games. I was rested, and Tim's was rested that week, and maybe I think as players you always want to play in every game possible, but in hindsight, it's pretty nice to get a rest. And it was always going to be a difficult game. The Samoans certainly now have a lot more fitness than they used to have. They last a full 80 minutes playing at the level that they can play at. Probably down to the fact that most of them play in the Premiership or in Europe now. So it was a very difficult game, and I think the boys were a bit frustrated at the end of it. There were certainly another 3 or 4 tries that we left out on the pitch that day, though, so the scoreline could have been much different. The most frustrating for us, I think, was the South Africa week, because I think we all felt that was a game we could have won going into it, and on the day, they turned up. They were obviously aggrieved that they lost in Scotland the week before, and they showed it when they played us. And for those guys that hadn't played South Africa before, they knew that they were in they're in a proper game.
Well, I mean, you've played against the Springboks many, many times. You know what it's like. I think with respect to some of the absolutely outstanding youngsters who are now part of the England team, it was a new experience and a real eye-opening experience. You've been there before. You knew what was going to happen, maybe not in terms of the result, but in terms of what they did. And it was a big lesson for a young England team, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And I think for any, we all go through it as young guys. You have to play New Zealand or South Africa for the first time, and I remember it. And until you do it and appreciate the level of physicality they bring, you can't understand it, doesn't matter how much someone tells you. So, it will set us up in good stead going into the World Cup. And all those guys, having played against South Africa and New Zealand now, they understand what we're going to be facing.
What was the feeling, Lewis, afterwards, and the feeling now? What are you gauging? Obviously, it would have been a disappointed dressing room after South Africa, but did you get the feeling as well that, that the Youngs and the Laws and the Fodens and the Ashtons of the world kind of thought, okay, so this is where the bar is. Brilliant. We know what we have to do.
The feeling I got was that everyone wanted to get back out on the pitch next week and play Wales. So, it's a good environment at the minute. The guys are really enjoying playing together, and I think the sooner we can get ready and get into camp and prepare for that Six Nations game, the better.
Well, you've been through 2 World Cup campaigns, so I mean, you know all about it, Lewis. And I don't know when it officially starts. It's probably already started, but for sure, a Six Nations is very important in World Cup year, isn't it?
Yeah, without a doubt. And we know we're by no means world beaters or anywhere up there yet. So we have to keep doing what we're doing, and we're making sure each game that we play is a step in the right direction, and we're building every time we play together. And I think that'll set us in good stead. We're confident coming into the Six Nations, but it's all about performing.
So what about the Welsh then? Hey, Wales in Cardiff, February the 4th. In some respects it seems a long way off, in other respects it's just around the corner.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of rugby to be played, for club prior to that. So, even though I've said I'm hugely excited about playing that game and I wish it was now, I've still got to focus on everything that we have to do at Bath and making sure that we start to turn some of the narrow losses that we're having into victories.
If the World Cup was staged next week, you'd be competitive, wouldn't you? But perhaps right now would be just a little below 2 or 3 teams. But the beauty is it's not next week, it's in September. Do you think, on the evidence that you've seen and the players that you have, and with the games you've got in front of you, that you've got the time and the talent to go to New Zealand and be serious contenders?
Yeah, without a doubt. I've been to 2 World Cup finals, one where we've been pretty much favourites going in, and one where we've been at one stage unlikely to get out of the group. So we got to the final that year and we could have won. So I know better than anyone that you can win a World Cup in any situation, but I feel that we're certainly much better prepared at the minute, and I think and I hope as this season goes on through the Six Nations and the summer camps that we'll be getting more and more together and even better prepared.
And those young guys, I mean, you've got to remember the Youngs of the world and the Ashtons of the world, they've still only got sort of 3, 4, 5 caps.
Yeah.
So I guess another 6 or 7 under their belt won't make them as experienced as you, but you can't replicate Test match rugby, can you?
No, you can't. But I mean, every game they play, they get better, and just having that enthusiasm, that youth in the side is sometimes that little spark that you need. That's all you need.
And obviously you ought to be in the team first and foremost. That's the prerequisite. But you are captain, and hopefully will continue to be captain. I mean, how exciting or how pressure-filled is it to think about being England's Six Nations captain and potentially England's World Cup captain? Is that sort of like an awesome responsibility?
Do you know, I don't think about it in that terms. I was just thinking about the tournament and the team. I don't get excited about being that's not the right word. I'm not driven by the fact that I'm captain. Do you know what I mean? I'm driven by the fact that I want to be a part of a great squad and play in a team that's doing very well. And if I'm captain of that team at that time, then that's brilliant. I've certainly enjoyed the experience of doing it so far. If I'm asked to do it again, I would absolutely love it. But just to be a part of this special group of players at the minute and be a part of what I believe we can achieve is is enough to drive me and get me excited.
And finally, before you freeze to death, you had a big job the other day. You've been England captain, but perhaps even a bigger role the other day when you were the main man, were you not, at this time of the year?
Father Christmas.
You were Father Christmas.
The toughest role of all.
Yeah. But one that you're made for.
I really enjoyed it. I loved it. I was very hot at one point, and when people were questioning my beard, whether it was real or not, I was trying to hold it together. But it was very good fun. I love this time of year. It's the most enjoyable sort of family time you can have.
Okay, well, we wish you all the best, obviously, for 2011, Lewis, and we will catch up with you, I'm sure, very soon.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, everyone.